Are you ready to take your accessibility skills to the next level? This video is unlike anything that we have done before. Today, we will use Axe DevTools to find accessibility issues in a website. But we won't stop there. I will walk you through how to fix every issue in the code, step by step. By the end of this video, you will not only master the use of Axe DevTools, but also learn how to implement fixes that make your website inclusive for everyone. So stick around, smash that like button, and it's time to find and fix accessibility issues using Axe DevTools. Let's go. We will be running Axe DevTool on this single page application that I created using Bootstrap examples. It has various sections along with few images on the page, and then we have a very basic input form fields. So let's dive in and start testing with Axe DevTools. Let's open up the DevTools by right-clicking on the page and go to Inspect, and then click on this double arrows to go for Axe DevTools. Now this is only available if you have installed the Axe DevTools Chrome plugin. If you have not done it already, go to Chrome settings, go to extensions, and download and install Axe DevTools. And for today's video, we'll be only focusing on the full page scan, because if you want to do the partial page scan, you have to have a paid membership with Axe DevTool. As you can see, Axe DevTool offers a lot of features, like if you want to test specific to a table or using a keyboard only or modal dialogues. However, these features are only for paid members. So let me scroll this to the top of the page, and I'm gonna hit full page scan, and let's see how many issues Axe is able to identify. Total of 56 issues have been identified by Axe DevTool. Here is the breakdown of each type of severity. We have 9 under critical, 24 under serious, and 23 for moderate. Let's begin with the moderate severities. Once I click on moderate, it will list out all the issues under this category. And let's click on the first one. Heading levels should only increase by 1. It is self-explanatory that it requires us to increase the heading levels just by 1. The first thing that we need to do is click on this highlight, because it will take us to the element which is causing this issue. And same is being highlighted under the element location. They also provide a tag button which is like inspect element. Once you click on it, it takes you into the actual element which is causing this issue. Now let's go back to our Axe DevTools. It also provides how to fix it. So it says to solve this problem, you need to fix the following: heading order invalid. Now let's go into our Visual Studio Code to fix this problem. Here's the HTML that we'll be working on. And as you can see, immediately after H2 for values, we have H4, and this is causing this issue. Now let's go ahead and change this to H3 and end this tag with H3 also, save it. Let's head back to I'm gonna rerun the scan. After rerunning the scan, we have heading levels should only increase by 1 and only 2 instances. Earlier, we had 3 of this. Now let's identify what other instances we need to fix. So this is under the service section, what I offer. Let's go into our code and search for services. And we have it here. I'm going to change this to H3 and the tag with H3. The next instance is for most viewed videos. Let's find most viewed videos in our code. And this is the place that we have to update. So I'm going to do H4 to H3, save it. I'm going to remove highlight and then rerun the scan. And now we are back to 51. Let's go to moderate only. We still have anything related to that heading level. So we do not have any heading level issues. Next, let's move on to the documents should have one landmark role. And this is very critical for a screen reader user, because they use different landmarks to jump from one region to another. Now let's head back to our code. Let's go to the beginning And then we are gonna wrap everything apart from the header tag in the main tag. And we are gonna wrap everything in the main container just before the footer section. So this is the place that I'm gonna end my main section. Let's head back to our code, rerun the scan. If you recall, we had 18 other violations under moderate. Let's go back and roll back our changes to see what those issues were. I'm gonna remove this main tag. I'm gonna save it and then gonna rescan this page. So see, we have 20 under moderate, and if it says document should have one landmark, and secondly we have 19 for all page content should be contained by landmarks. Now this is happening because we are not having one main landmark, and the moment we put in the landmark, I'm gonna do my changes again, save it, come back to our page, rerun the scan. We have 0 under moderate. So fixing one issue also fixed the other accessibility issues that were part of the moderate. Now let's jump on to the serious category. Let's click on it. The first one, it says element must meet enhanced color contrast ratio thresholds. And we have 5 instances of this. Let's click on this. Let's start highlighting as we did for the moderate. Let's identify which element is having this issue. It's our H3 tag, which is having color contrast issue. Let's see if it's true for any other H3 element on the page. Yes, so it's true for what I offered, H3 that we coded, and most viewed videos. Now what we can do is go back to our code. Let's go into our styles that I have done on the same page. Let's find H3. We don't have H3. Let's put it here. I'm gonna do H3 and I give color black. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back here. As we can see, the color has changed to black. Now I'm gonna rerun the scan and our 5 of the violations should go away. As you can see, the moment we updated the color for H3, those violations have been remediated. Now let's go back to our serious category. Let's see what the next issue is. Element must meet enhanced color contrast ratio threshold. And this is for the link that we have at the bottom. Now let's go back to our code and update the color contrast for this link. And we have to change the color for this link. I'm going to identify this anchor tag by using this footer. So go back to our styles. We have footer section here, right? So here I'm going to do footer. Within the footer, identify if there's an anchor tag, and then I'm going to give color. And for color, I'm going to use a dark blue. Let's put hash in front of it. Let's go back to our page. Let's rescan and have a look. Because we updated the color, the issue reported for w3cschools.com anchor tag, the color threshold is being fixed because it's at 4.5:1 now. Earlier, it was falling well below that. Let's move on to the next, which is elements must meet minimum color contrast ratio thresholds. Again, I'm gonna turn on the highlight feature to understand what is causing the issue. And this is coming for the paragraph tag. Let's have a look if this is true for any other element on the page. Yes, it's again a paragraph. Same thing here. I'm looking on the left section as well, like what is causing the issue. Let's continue looking into it. It's again a paragraph. And I believe same is true for any other element on the page. Now let's look what the issue is. It says the color contrast is of 3.89 with respect to its background, and the expected contrast ratio is 4.5:1. In order to fix it, let's go back to our code and let's put a paragraph tag at the beginning. Or let's do it immediately after our H4 tags. I'm going to see paragraph. I'm gonna say color and give black as color. The moment I did it, now color is changed to black. I'm gonna rerun the scan to get rid of the color contrast ratio issue for the paragraph tags. Once I did it, because I did it for all the paragraphs, it caused issues for the certified professional in web accessibility paragraph text that I have here. Now let's go back and fix it. Let's find certified professional. I'm gonna give this a class. I'm gonna say color white. I'm gonna give text of color white immediately after the paragraph. So I'm gonna say color white. Let's save it. Go back to our page and it is turned to white instead of black. I'm gonna rerun the scan. Let's see what else do we have for the series category. It says document must have title element to aid in navigation. Now let's understand why this is important. The first thing a screen reader hears when they are on your page is the page title. Now if they are working on multiple tabs at the same time and they are jumping from one tab to another, title tag helps them identify which page they are on. So let's go into our code and fix it. So let's go to the top of the page and under the head tag, I'm going to put the title tag and I'm going to say find and fix accessibility issues when skills sync. Let's save it, head back to our code, rerun the scan, and voila, we don't have that issue anymore. The next issue under serious category we have is HTML element must have a language attribute. For assistive technologies such as a screen reader, it is critical to understand the language of the page. If we are not providing the language attribute, it's confusing for a screen reader to identify. Failing to provide language attribute will cause issues for screen reader to identify in which language they need to announce the text on the screen. To fix it, let's go back to our code. And for HTML, and one more thing, you might see some of the elements already being highlighted with this red underline. And this is because I have Axe Linter plugin installed for my Visual Studio. It helps you identify issues while you are writing the code. And it offers the solution as well. So here it is saying, ensure every HTML document has a language attribute. To fix it, we are going to simply add a language attribute and we are going to say it's English. So I'm going to use the EN as the code for language. The best practice to use is the 2-letter words for the language, such as EN for English, ES for Spanish, because these are globally accepted by all assistive technologies. Rather than saying English in full, you just have to use EN. Now let's go back to our code, rerun the scan, and we are down to 5. Next we have links must be distinguishable without relying on color. I believe this is talking about the link that we have at the bottom of the page. Yeah, so let's go back to our code and put an underline to make it distinguishable. If you recall, we added color to this under the footer section. Now let's add text decoration underline. Let's head back to our page. We have an underline. Let's do a rescan. And now we are down to 4 with one issue under serious. Link must have discernible text. It means that it should have a unique name and an accessible name for that element. Let's highlight which element is in question. And this is for the logo, the global accessibility logo that we have at the navigation section. Now let's head back to our code. And here is the element which is causing this issue. Again, my Axe Linter plugin for Visual Studio has already called out that there is an issue. So me being a developer, I'll have the experience within the Visual Studio without even running the Axe Devtool plugin. So what we can do is we can use aria hyphen label and say accessibility logo. And let's head back to our page. Let's do a rescan. And now we are down to 3. So we have 3 under critical. Let's see what those critical issues are. The first one is element must only use supported aria attributes. Let's see which element is causing this issue. And this is coming for the subscribe button. And let's see how to resolve this issue. It says aria attribute is not allowed. And what is not allowed? Aria active descendant. Aria active descendant is used for a dropdown, for a custom dropdown that you have built using divs or paragraphs. The simple solution to fix is go back to your code, search for subscribe, and see again Excelenter has already called it out, and simply remove this aria attribute because it's not needed. Let's head back, rescan this page, and we are down to 2. Let's see what the next issue is. Buttons must have discernible text. Let's highlight which element is causing this issue. And this is because we are having an icon for a button without giving an accessible name for a screen reader to read it out. Let's head back to our code and find this button immediately after want to level up your skills. The easiest fix is use aria-label and say contact skills sync. I'm gonna save this. Let's go back, rerun the scan, and we are down to 1. The other recommended solution for this button fix that we just did is not to use aria label, but rather a visual label. So I'm gonna say contact skills sync, and I'm gonna remove this aria label. Let's save it and go back to our code. Let's rescan. We should still be having only 1 issue. Yes, I made few changes in my code to show you the issues related to the form input fields. And this is where we have 3 issues related to the labels. It says form elements must have labels. Now let's highlight and see which element is causing this issue. It's coming for this input type text. And the issue is that there is no label which is linked to this input type. And the fix for this is to provide a visual label or provide an aria label. My preference is always to provide visual labels because it helps people with low cognitive abilities. Now let's head back to our code and find input type text. So let's search for it, input type text. And let's add a label tag. And using the for attribute, we are going to link this label with this input type. So let's say for name, I'm going to say full name. And let's do the same thing for the second input field. Let's do label, use the for attribute and type in the ID and then say email address. Save it. Let's head back to our website, rerun the scan, and we have form elements must have labels down to 1. And this is for the text input or the text area that we have. Let's go back to our code and we have our text area here. And for this, let's use aria label. Let's say aria label detailed message. Let's save it and see if it's getting resolved or not. Let's load this section and then rerun the scan. And we got rid of all the issues related to the input form fields. Let's move on to the last issue on this page, and this is image must have alternate text. This is self-explanatory. It requires that the image that we are using should have an alt text. Now let's go back into our code and fix the last accessibility issue. So this is our image. I'm gonna add and Alt. Let's say a sick man wearing a turban with a warm smile. Let's go back to our page. Let's do the final rescan, and hopefully we should have zero accessibility issues. And that's how you use Axe DevTools to identify and fix accessibility issues. Remember, automated tools like this can catch around 40% of the problems. This is where manual checks are critical to ensure your website is fully accessible. Have you faced any web accessibility issue? Drop it in the comment below. I would love to help you out. This is Param Singh signing off. Until next time, keep learning and keep breaking those accessibility barriers.